This is Singapore's hottest campus radio station. Radio Heatwave. Heatwave.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Radio Heatwave, the hottest thing on campus. Today we have a rather interesting topic as we'll be talking about what, in my opinion, is one of the things that make us human, kindness. And joining me today is the Executive Director of the Singapore Kindness Movement, Michelle Tay. Welcome.
Hi Aaron, thanks for having me.
No problem. So let's just jump right into it. I see you're wearing some Singapore Kindness Movement merch.
Yes.
And can you tell me a bit more about Singapore Kindness Movement? Because for me at least, the only thing I know about them is through my VIA back in primary school. And I think one of the projects I did with them.
You did?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I think I was coming up with some social media idea back in primary school.
Okay.
But apart from that, what is Singapore Kindness Movement about?
I think most of the students will probably remember Singapore Kindness Movement with Singer, the kindness mascot, right? So we do have education programs that goes out to the school with Singer and the kindness cubbies. So they live in the place called Kindsville. So every quarter we actually issue out newsletters to the schools based on different values, and ideally they also do projects to talk about kindness and different kindness values to reach out to the schools. Apart from that, we also have public campaigns out there in the public spaces. So we work a lot with our partners from the Land Transport Authority to HDB, promoting good neighborliness. And the t-shirt I'm wearing now is actually by this local brand called Cruddy. And I just brought the t-shirt here to show you. Here we go. So it falls in line with our theme of Be Greater. And of course you see the B, do you get it?
Oh, the B, yeah.
Yeah, so Be Greater, it's really SKM's theme of how do we be greater versions of ourselves. So Cruddy, being a local brand, sort of come up with this really cute, fancy design that is limited edition. And we really wanted to target the youths because it's something different that, we can't just always be forcing you or educating you about being kind, right?
Yeah.
But we're trying to find innovative ways or fresh ideas to see how we can reach out to the youths.
So with all these things like the events that you all do,
Yes.
the outreach you all do, and coming up with t-shirts and all that, it certainly can't be easy, can it?
I think we always need to be relevant and stay up to date. So as for the kindness movement ourselves, we've jumped in on the bandwagon since Facebook started, Instagram, IG, we're also now on TikTok. I think we're always coming up with fresh new ideas just to keep people engaged, because when promoting a value is probably not easy, right? It's like I'm telling you, hey, please smile and be nice to someone else. So I think that's how we always come up with new ideas or fresh ways to see how we can promote or shape norms, how can people be gracious.
Yeah, speaking of promoting values in Singapore, as we know, is a very fast-paced society, right? It's always just go to work, go to school, then go back home, have to worry about your social life and the work-life balance. It's a lot of thinking that has to be done of how to just progress through your day. And with all that taking up the space in your brain, it's very hard to find time about the more important things, right? The smaller things, something like kindness. What challenges does the Singapore Kindness Movement face when it comes to promoting kindness in such a fast-paced society like Singapore?
I think that's always the issue, right? Singaporeans always say, wow, I got no time, I'm always in a rush. In fact, you know that based on our walking speed, Singapore is actually the first in terms of other countries to be the fastest walking
Really?
nation.
I would
Yes.
assume it's because the Singapore weather isn't kind to us. It's either like super
I think
hot.
that helps too, right? I think
Yeah.
that also contributes, right? When you're hot, you get angsty and then you'll be so... Yeah, so like December now is the rainy season, naturally people are kinder, it's the giving season, you feel that Christmas warmth. But then again, to us, I think kindness doesn't really need to take time. Like you don't really need to use time as an excuse. So for example, like giving up your seat, how much time does that take? Right? Just 1 second of, okay, I've noticed someone there who might need a seat, let me just give up the seat for that person. Or even greeting your neighbor along the corridor in the lift. It only takes like 1 second to just break a smile. So I think if people could think about, what's the real intention or what really makes us human, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, it's really these small little actions that helps contribute to make people a little kinder. So to me, kindness is really about being other-centered. So when we think about others first, or we put others before self, and that's when you actually can be kind, right? The other excuse that people often give is, "Wow, so stressed, how to be kind?"
Yeah.
Right? But the opposite, or the reverse psychology shows that if you're actually kinder, it reduces your stress. So right now, if you are feeling stressed, you have to be kind. If not, it will not reduce your stress and you'll continue feeling stressed and it'll mount up. Yeah, so kindness actually has a scientific benefit. It actually increases your happy hormones, your oxytocin, your dopamines, and things like that. So yeah, I think there's no reason why you can't be kind. And in fact, I always say kindness keeps you young. Yeah.
So would you say that in a sense, being kind to others is also being kind to yourself?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's psychology as well. It's like a interloop effect, right, between kindness and happiness. So sometimes you always think about what's the pursuit of happiness, where do I want to be, or what can makes me happy. In fact, if you're kind, it actually makes you happy and it makes your life better.
So based on that, I'm kind of curious, what is your definition of a kind person? What makes a person kind?
I think everyone is born kind. In fact, there were studies to show that babies were really born kind, right? When you wake up in the morning, you don't have the intention that, oh, today I'm going to do something bad, right?
Yeah.
So to me, kindness is in every one of us. But how do you unlock that, or how do you want to make yourself more human? How do you do the extra step or go the extra mile to go and make someone kinder? Yeah. So to me, everyone's really kind, right? It's just that probably we're always busy on our mobiles, In Chinese, you call it 低头族, you're always just looking down. How can we just look up at our surroundings and be aware of the people around us? I think that's what makes us human and kinder.
So speaking of like all the distractions that we have in life right now, stopping us from being kind, like looking at our phones or worrying about the stresses in life, I feel that currently, especially for youths like me and for like my friends behind the camera there in Singapore, it's a very stressful environment in the sense like we have a lot of distractions around us.
Yes.
And I know you're a mother of two as well, right?
Oh yes, that's right.
And I feel that a lot of parents like you worry. Do you think the youths in Singapore right now, people that their children will be interacting with a lot, are kind?
What do you think?
Personally, like for me, my kindness is just I try my best. Like whenever I order food at the coffee shop, I always try and say thank you after. But there are moments where it's like I'm very distracted by something, and when especially with social media also highlighting moments of people being unkind, like youths like us maybe not offering up their seats or being rude to others. It's moments like that that sort of reduces the hope. Like, are we really kind? Are youths in Singapore really kind?
So I think if we look at our graciousness survey, because we study, a proper consensus of Singapore, Singaporeans, especially in the youth, actually become kinder this year. In fact, I think we're at 72 point. And the contribution is really looking at youths who are actually doing more volunteer work and reaching out to do kind acts. So that's a good sign. The youths are actually kind. We are kinder as compared to previous years. And to me, it's really how do we keep up with that momentum? Right? So as a mother myself, I always try to encourage, values are actually better caught than thought. Right? You learn things faster by seeing or observing things rather than you learning through, in schools, you have to sit down in lecture theatre just to listen, oh, must be kind, right? But how do you actually do simple things? So kids actually pick up things very fast, and I think that's how we really shape behaviors since young. So that's very important. Yeah.
But do you worry about all the exposure online to possibly unkind values, unkind acts?
To me, that's really about the minority. So these are probably the vocal minority, right? The people out there, if you go out face to face, people naturally would not want to say, oh, I'm going to be unkind, or I'm going to throw someone out there, right? Those are really just keyboard warriors. So to me, I worry is about how can we bring up the volume of the silent majority, right? Everyone here is kind, but how do we actually bring that up so that we actually can triumph over that little small vocal minority? Yeah, so I think I quote Taylor Swift because I'm a Swiftie fan here. Let's just shake it off, right? Haters are gonna hate anyway. So what else can we do to, promote kindness? Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, how do you feel Singapore Kindness Movement tries to appeal to the youth? Like, besides being relevant to them, how else do you feel that Singapore Kindness Movement can possibly tap into, like you said, that more quieter majority of people who are kind to share their stories?
I think on one end, from social media perspective, we're really trying every day to find out or produce content that could be more entertaining, because that's one factor that youths always like to relate to. The other one that we're also encouraging more is ground-up movements. So to me, if you're passionate about something that could be your pet peeve, or it could be things like promoting volunteerism in seniors and things like that, that's where these ground-up movements can actually act as catalysts to start something that they're really passionate about and grow that movement. So today we actually have over 130 ground-up movements who are like our advocates of kindness, doing kind things out there. It could be as simple as the morning greeters. For the last 10 years, every Sunday without fail, they have been jogging and greeting at a park in Singapore. How bad can that be, right? Yeah. So, it's simple acts of kindness like this, because it started with Adrian Poon saying, why Singaporeans like so bochap when I jog, like everyone's on their headphone and things like that. So he started this group called Morning Greeters, and he was jogging along the park. And then he's like, okay, great, I'll just get some more volunteers to start jogging around in Singapore. And the next thing you know, it's 10 years and they're still going strong at it. They still have this pool of ready volunteers. In fact, I've seen him through his life stages of getting married and even having a child now, or 2 kids. Yeah, so he even brings the kids along to his morning routine. It's not easy to jog and greet, trust me. But I think the concept or the message is that, right? He strongly believes that Singaporeans can break a smile, can be kinder, and it starts with simple things like greeting. We have quite a lot of ground-up movements, and it's really of how do you kickstart that passion in you to say, oh, I want to go and do something good today. What can I do? And keep that momentum going.
So all that about motivating yourself to be kind, it's very interesting to me, because actually my kindness, I told you, right, it's about saying thank you to the staff that I meet at restaurants, coffee shops. And there was actually once I stopped going to this store for quite a while, and then the first time I went back, it was like 6 months after, and that auntie there still recognized me. And I was like, how do you know who I am? I haven't been here in like 6 months. And she was like, oh yeah, that our boy that kept saying thank you all the time. And I was like, it really, it made the rest of my day all that much better. And I feel like it's those moments that really connect with you, like that makes you think, oh, I'm really happy to be doing this.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, do you feel like that's something that can actually be promoted more?
Yes, I think so. I think it's also about reciprocity or the ripples of kindness. Every May each year, we actually celebrate Kindness Day SG. So quick shout out if you're planning something. Next year is also SG 60. So Kindness Day SG falls on the 23rd of May. And it's a day where we want to encourage people to show appreciation to someone who has been kind to you. So if you notice now, Singer, our kindness mascot, now holds a yellow Jabera daisy on his t-shirt. Yeah. And we really wanted a symbol of appreciation. So like, Valentine's Day, you see lots of roses out there on the streets, right? Mother's Day, you see carnations. Kindness Day, think about happy, cheery, yellow jaberas. That's where you want to try and encourage people to show appreciation to one another.
Yeah, okay. And now finally, to end it off, how do you be kind in Singapore?
I think I'm going to end off with this quote, which I really like to use. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle, right? So you never know what troubles people are going through, but the least you could do is to be kind to them.
I cannot think of a better way to end this off. Thank you, Michelle, for coming down.
Thank you so much, Aaron. My pleasure.
Radio Heatwave. Heatwave.